today on Divorce Court?
I'm here on divorce court today because I have health issues and my boyfriend has control issues.
Lindsey's health condition is a huge question mark on our relationship and our future. I don't know what to do for Lindsey because I don't know what more a person could do for Lindsey. Every day is dedicated to our lives together.
I didn't realize how bad Billy's temper was until we moved out to a small town and until he got me a little more isolated.
I never felt like I isolated Lindsey away from her family or friends. I always gave her the choice whether or not she wanted to come with me. She's a grown woman, she can make her own choices.
I don't think anybody's like, you know what would be a good idea? Let's be 33 and 3 hours away from all your friends and family and then pop a baby out. Nobody wants to do that. But if I have to, I will.
I definitely feel misled by Lindsey.
Divorce Court is now in session.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Lindsey Keefauver and Mr. William Paulo. The two of you have been together for 2.5 years. Ms. Keefauver, you are 2 months pregnant?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And you got together quickly, and now things are a little bumpy, and you've come here to me to find out what the heck you're gonna do. I had you take my compatibility test just because I wanted to know what was happening. And Ms. Keefauver, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship? Oh, not only that, though. You want $2,500 from him if this relationship ends. And you want $4,700 from her. So we're going to figure out why you want it and whether or not you're going to get it by the end of this proceeding. But Ms. Keefauver, before we do, why don't you tell me a little bit about your relationship and why we're here today?
Well, we're here today because we are obviously having some issues and there have been some complications added to that within recent times. I have a health condition called endometriosis, so the fact that I'm even pregnant at all is pretty miraculous. And I had a health condition which he was well aware of within probably 2 weeks of us getting together. And yet, once we relocated from Sacramento to the teeny tiny town where we are now, it's like he had no idea. Health problems? You have health problems? What are you talking about? I thought you were fine. How come you're not working? How come you're not supporting yourself? How come you're not taking care of everything you're supposed to be taking care of?
Okay, look at me.
Even though I said I was going to take care of you.
I already fought with him about it. Okay, Mr. Paulo, were you surprised at the level of disability associated with her condition, or?
She says it was 2 weeks. It was actually the fourth date. And we'd already been talking for quite a while online before that. Right. So 2 weeks is a little more like 2 months, but that's fine.
Do you feel misled with respect to her condition?
Absolutely. She totally softballed the whole idea of her condition.
Stop. When you say she softballed it, what did she say to you?
Well, when she originally told me that she was sick in the first place, it was more along the lines of, I'm sick and it's a condition, it's long term, but I can handle it.
Did she put a name on it?
She did not. She didn't give me any indication as to what it really was. And at the time, I didn't want to pry. So.
What do you think she should have told you that she didn't take? Because, health conditions are funny. You've been with a guy, 60 days. You don't want to talk about all of your inside parts.
I'm not going to get into my lady business right away, so I didn't.
What do you think you should have known that you didn't?
Well, I think she could have been a little more, hey, this is a debilitating pain condition. You didn't have to go into details. She didn't have to go into details about it necessarily, but she could have led on about the fact that, it stops her from doing a lot of things.
When did you first find out it was debilitating?
Maybe a month past that first
So about
date.
3 months in, maybe? Just give me a ballpark.
About 2 months in, yeah.
2 months in. Tell me what happened the night you had to carry her into the hospital.
Well, I mean...
He didn't actually carry me, for the record, but he did call the ambulance and help me into the hospital. But it's not like he picked me up and hoisted me over his shoulder and literally carried me in his arms to the hospital. And it's not as debilitating as he's making it sound. He's making it sound like I'm in the hospital all the time and like I'm unable to function and like I can't do anything. And that's part of the problem that we're having, is he thinks that because I have a medical condition, I can't do anything. Maybe I do it a little differently. Maybe it takes me a little longer. Maybe I'm a little slower, but I still get it done.
Well, what does he complain about you not doing?
Working, that I don't work and I don't bring in enough money.
Do you work?
I'm a Sunday school teacher. I mean, I'm not a
That
millionaire.
doesn't pay very well.
It doesn't. It doesn't
I mean,
pay very much.
it's spiritually satisfying.
Right, and I do some art modeling. Again, doesn't pay very much, but I mean, I make enough to pay my bills. I make enough to pay my portion of things. I don't make as much as he.
No.
I don't make as much as he does, and he's the one that wanted to move into a place that was more expensive, where our bills were going to be higher.
How long were you together before you two decided to move in together?
When we moved from Sacramento to Willits, we had been together for about 6 months when we moved out together on our own.
Why would you move and leave a city with a dude you know 6 months?
I've never.
I do not understand that.
You know, my mom said kind of the same thing, actually. But I'd never lived anywhere else in my whole life. I'd never lived anywhere but Sacramento. I was 31, I think, at that time, and I was ready to go out and live somewhere else and experience
Get on a
something
plane,
else.
Judge, that's not.
fly somewhere.
He was a
Walk
great.
around the city, stay a couple of weeks, get on another plane.
Or go do it on my own and move in with somebody else. You know, it was a good opportunity. His job was relocating. He was like, I'm moving. We were already living together at that time. And at that time, when we were living together, things were great. Things were fantastic when we were
They were
living together.
always fabulous in the beginning.
Things weren't great.
They were.
Mr. Paulo,
Okay,
you
then you
say
tell
that
me.
she's really not accurately telling the story. Why don't you tell me how you saw it?
Well, the reason she moved in so early is because she didn't have a place of her own. Her car broke down on the side of the road, and she had nowhere to go. And I said, well, why don't you come live with me then?
Why would you ask a woman you only knew 6 months, knew had a medical issue that now you claim is too much for you? Why did you ask her to move with you?
So at the time, right, I was working 12-hour nights.
Right.
And her condition seems to worsen in the evening hours. Now, mind you, I'm not even there, right, in the evening, you know? And so when my work took me to a new place, my hours changed.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I could be home and see how bad it was.
That bothered you.
Yeah, I mean, if that's not misdirection, I don't know what is.
He didn't realize sometimes that I spend the days in pain, lying in bed in pain and not really able to get up. That happens sometimes. Sometimes I have to spend a day in bed not really doing much, but that's not.
I didn't have a good understanding of it moving into the situation.
He had
You know why? You only knew her 6 months. That's why.
Yeah.
He had.
But I'm going to move on from there, and I want to talk about the sense of isolation you felt in this new place. What do you say is the biggest problem that's causing this relationship to end? I know what she's upset about, the distance and the isolated and all that. What do you say?
She can be really nasty sometimes.
You struggled in your new place, in the
Yes.
new city. Tell me about that.
I didn't realize how small this town was until we got there. I didn't realize that we were moving to a place with one stoplight and one bus driver who, if that bus driver gets a cold that day, the bus just doesn't run. It's that kind of town. Like, it's that small. And I didn't know that when we got there. I also didn't realize that while we were gonna be relocating to Willits, his job was actually in Ukiah, which is half an hour away. So I'm not really sure why we ever moved to Willits when his job was never
somewhere
there.
else. Why didn't you just move to Ukiah?
Why didn't we just move to Ukiah? Because the other thing is, he needed my car. He talks about how I was living in my car, which is not true. I was staying with friends while I was still looking for a place, and then he offered a place, so I moved into that place. It's not like I was homeless. I slept in my car once or twice if I didn't feel like crashing on someone's couch, more privacy. But anyway, when he moved me to this teeny tiny town, he took my car all day, every day. And not just to go to Ukiah. He was actually still working in Sacramento at that point. So I was up in Willits for days at a time. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any way to get around. I didn't have any money because
And wasn't nothing happening.
Yeah, and there's nothing going on there.
Your Honor, that's no.
Mr. Paulo, what do you say happened?
So yeah, I used her vehicle, but when we first got together, I had my own.
He had his own car for about 2 weeks, and then it broke down.
2
and
months.
he hasn't had a car since.
But once you got to Willits,
Beyond that, yes, I provided her a place to live where she didn't have to pay for anything.
Right.
And when my car broke down, she was nice enough to offer the use of her vehicle
Right.
to get the job done,
Not
so I
for
could pay
2
her
years.
bills. So I could pay for the bills. And then when we moved to the new location, yeah, I got us a little spot in a little tiny town next to a large city where my commute was 22 minutes.
It's half an hour. It's 22 miles.
So, in any case, it was, I'm not that far, and there were plenty of times during even just the workday where I would come home and take care of things.
Okay.
She wasn't isolated. I'm a phone call away, and I came home multiple times to help take care of things.
Okay. What do you say is the biggest problem that's causing this relationship to end? I know what she's upset about, the distance and the isolated and all that. What do you say?
She can be really nasty sometimes.
Okay. That's a good thing to talk about. Let's talk about her attitude and why it gets on your nerves.
If I have people bringing her food from the church because I'm not there, I'm not home, and I can't provide, it sets a bad precedent, I mean, I'm gonna look bad in the eyes of the church.
That is silly, self-centered, and dumb. That doesn't make any sense at all. How long should you date someone before moving in together? Tell us what you think at facebook.com/Divorce Court. Divorce Court will be right back. You said she's nasty. What do you mean by that?
Well, she tends to wake up really early due to the pain factor of her condition. And no matter when she wakes up, I need to get up and start helping her. So no matter if she's had a bad night, if she doesn't sleep, or if she doesn't sleep a lot, I get up when she tells me to take care of her.
Since when?
Since always.
Since and that's the other thing. He talks about this debilitating medical condition that I have, which I do have medical condition, but actually what he's neglecting to mention is within the past 6 or 7 months, I've actually gotten a lot better. And so all these things that he's kind of talking about now, that he's mentioning now, is retroactively stuff. And actually, now that I've been pregnant, my health has been better,
Right.
believe it or not. Because
Right.
getting pregnant is actually supposed to help with endometriosis. That's
Right.
why we did it.
Right.
We planned on having
not
a
the
baby.
sole reason, but
we
yeah.
talked about having a baby. It's not like, oh, surprise, now
Surprise,
you have a
we
baby.
happen to have a baby,
Yeah,
yeah.
this was a planned on thing. This
Is she getting
wasn't.
better? I mean, medically, is she getting better?
I mean, marginally, sure.
See, he doesn't even want to give. He doesn't want to give any credit for anything.
And I want to talk about that because you said that he's a control freak.
He is. He absolutely is.
Explain that to me.
Well, anytime you're going to move somebody away from all of their family and friends and take away their only mode of transportation and tell them that they can't have friends down at the church, they can't have friends down at the library, they can't make friends with the people that live across the street because he doesn't know them, you can't drive people in your own car the one day when you have your own car, you can't drive
Ma'am.
people that he doesn't know.
Are all of these rules that you have for her?
Let me ask you something. How can I be so controlling if I'm never there?
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? That's a skill. It's remarkable.
But when you are there, you could say, these are the rules.
And that's what he does.
Is that what you do?
Of course not. Why would I make rules
Do you
for
have
her?
a problem with the friends that she makes? Have you ever made mention
No,
of not liking
the only
them?
thing I ever had a problem with was other men bringing her food at night.
I go to church because I teach Sunday school, and I have friends that sing at a Chinese food restaurant every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And they've offered, if you ever need anything on the way back, since you're pregnant, we know you don't have a car, just let me know, and I'll grab you some food you can pay me on the way back.
What's wrong
Why
with
is
that?
that a problem? You're not even there. I don't have a car. How am I supposed to get down there?
What's wrong with that?
If I have people bringing her food from the church because I'm not there, I'm not home, and I can't provide, it sets a bad precedent, I mean, I'm going to look bad in the eyes of the church.
That is silly, self-centered, and dumb. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I told her she could have any female friends bring it over, but it's not appropriate to have men
Any
coming over in the
female
evenings.
friend, which I don't really have any
So
friends
you can't
up there.
have a guy just deliver her some food in the evening because he's a guy.
Guys from church, married men from church.
You
he's
can't
met.
do that? Oh, Mr. Paulo.
Like
I think I see. I think I see. I think I do. I don't like it, but I see it. And I'm going to tell you what it is in a minute.
How long would you date someone before disclosing a medical condition?
Share your opinion on Twitter and Instagram at Divorce Court. Divorce Court will be right back. Mr. Paulo, I looked at your compatibility test and you said two things. I always ask, list 5 things that are wrong with you, because I think in order to be successful in any relationship, you must be self-aware. And part of being self-aware is being aware of where you're weak, because that's the stuff that'll trip you up. You said you were selfish and irrational, and I believe you. I think you are controlling. You said in your papers you know you're not controlling because you used to be controlling and you're not the guy that you used to be. You may not be as bad as the guys you used to be, but you're still controlling. I think that you are annoyed when you are inconvenienced by her ill health. It bothers you to have to be witness to that. It's like, how dare you inconvenience me by being sick and hurt? I have to actually look at you. You're not helping me at all. I have to see you in pain. That's inconveniencing me. I don't want guys delivering food to you. I've got your car. I've put you way out yonder somewhere in the desert in the dark, and I want you to stay there. And I've got your car. And when you know what I mean. And you misled me because you're not well. You're a selfish person. And you're not rational about the things that you don't want other people to do. You want everything to inure to your benefit, and are annoyed and irritated that people have needs that you need to satisfy. You need to work on yourself. You really, really do. You didn't sound, but I see you. I see you. I've seen guys like you in court. I'm not that bad, but she's sick. Whoa.
I'm not going to get
her.
better being pregnant.
Yeah.
I'm only going to get sicker.
Yeah.
And so if you knew that, and if you knew that I was sick, why would you agree to have a baby with me?
Ms. Keefauver, I want to say this to you. You're in charge of what you do.
Yeah, and I'm in charge of what's going on right now.
Yeah. And you need to stay in charge of that, because he scares me a little bit with that.
Me too, a little bit.
Ms. Keefauver, you want $2,500 from him for use of the car. Explain that to me.
Listen, if it costs $50 a day for a rental car, which it does, because that's how much it costs to rent a car from down the street from where we live, $50 a day, plus your mileage and all that, I don't think it's unreasonable to assess my 12-year-old car at $10 a day for the last, and that's not even it. I'm not that great at math, but I'm pretty sure if I did $10 a day times 2 years, it'd be a lot more money than what he has.
Okay.
So I feel like I should be something for
Mr.
that.
Paulo, you want
Yes, ma'am.
$4,700 from her. Tell me about that.
Well, I was the one taking care of her. I was the one paying those medical bills and all her expenses therein. It was $3,000 just for the prescriptions for the last 5 months.
You're in a relationship. You pretended to be married. You're not really married, but you did all the things that pretend to be married. Sometimes in a relationship it's 90-10, and then it turns around and it's 80-20. You know what I mean? Don't how dare you take more than you give at all times. You know what I mean? Just be a better dude. And you have to be a smarter woman. You got to be a chick who thinks. You got to be a chick who plans. Don't say, I got a dude, let me just follow him somewhere and let whatever happen, happen. Yeah. You got to make sure he's the right guy. You got to make sure you're in a position to take care of yourself. You with me?
Well, especially now because I'm not the only one I'm taking care of.
I know, so
figure it out.
Right? Yeah. There will be no covering this matter. It is so ordered.
Now that this is over, I really hope that we can co-parent together successfully and that we can give our child the life that we both want to give it, which is 2 loving parents, even if we can't be together.
As far as taking care of the kids, going to be my #1 priority. I'm not really too sure how exactly I'm going to try and make that happen if she tries to move far away, but I'll do what I can. I've only ever done what I can, and I will continue to do so.